Hi everyone, welcome back. I hope you're having a good day today. Again, I am here, Raquel Keller, to show you a project which is very exciting. Today we are going to focus on rockets. We're not going to be sending anything into space today, but we might be imagining it and pretending that we're doing something of the sort. But what we'll be doing is a tangram today, and we are lucky enough to have partnered with an astronomer who studies the stars and galaxies, which is just so amazing to think like that we are just one little small part of this great big, I don't even know how far it goes. It seems like it might be infinite. But be sure to watch to the end of the video, because at the end of the video, you will have information on the NASA Goddard Space Flight Center Visitor Center, which is here in Greenbelt, Maryland. And so it's something that is free and you can visit. So you can learn more online. They have a lot of great projects online for kids and adults, for that matter. So you can check out what they're doing there, as well as possibly plan a visit. So hope that you'll get to see some real rockets in person. All right, now we will go on to the supplies that we need for this rocket project. Okay, so for this project, you will have two templates. One is a little bit easier, one's a little bit harder. They're very similar, but if you'll notice, this one has lines in it, and this one does not. So this one helps you figure out where the shapes go. This one makes you work a little bit harder. So you're welcome to do one or both, but you should have both of these. We found these on the NASA website. And you will need markers. So again, you should have these handy. And then you will need scissors. And that is everything that we need for this project. So let's go ahead and get started.
Hi, my name is John, and I'm an astronomer. An astronomer is a kind of scientist. Scientists ask questions: who, what, when, where, and most important, how and why. Having asked the question, scientists then do research to find out the answer. If you like to ask questions, and especially if you like answering questions, then you can be a scientist too. To do the research to answer their questions, scientists will often use tools. Chemists use test tubes to mix chemicals. Biologists use microscopes to look at things that are too small to see. Sometimes scientists have to gather their data in exotic places, near volcanoes or under the sea, even in space. I am an astronomer. Astronomers use telescopes to study planets, stars, and galaxies. We ask some of the biggest questions of all. How did the entire universe begin? How do stars form? How do stars form the planets that orbit the stars? What are other planets like? Could any of those planets have life, plants, animals, even people? Where am I? I live in a house with my family. The house is in a city called Greenbelt. The city is in a country, the United States of America. The country is on a planet. The planet is called Earth. Earth has one moon, which we call the moon. There are other planets. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are the hard, rocky planets nearest the sun. In the outer solar system, there are gas giant planets much larger than the Earth: Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Further out is Pluto and the other dwarf planets. The planets orbit around a star, the star we call the Sun. The Sun appears to us to be bright and constant, but it is very active. Inside the Sun, hydrogen is burning into helium like a giant bomb. Sometimes there are storms on its surface. The Sun is one of hundreds of millions of stars in our galaxy. On a very dark night, looking from all around the Earth, We can see about 6,000 stars using our eyes. To see further, we need to use a telescope. But some stars are near each other, particularly if they were born together, like these stars called the Pleiades. The stars are in galaxies. Our galaxy is called the Milky Way, but we can't see it from the outside since we are in the middle of it. This is what it would look like if we could see it from the outside. The Milky Way is a spiral galaxy. There are galaxies everywhere we look, in all directions, as far as we can see, with even the most powerful telescopes. Astronomers use telescopes to do their research. You can look through a small telescopes, but the big telescopes that astronomers use take pictures which can be shown to other people or studied later. Size matters for telescopes. Bigger is better. A bigger primary mirror will collect more light. That means either that the astronomer can collect information about fainter things, or that the light can be split up into different colors to learn about what the stars are and the galaxies are made of. Astronomers' telescopes are usually at the top of a mountain. The top of a mountain is above much of the air, and air gets in the way of the light, absorbing some of it. Putting a telescope into space puts it above all of the air for the clearest view of all. The Hubble Space Telescope was launched into space in 1990, almost 30 years ago. Since that time, it has been the best and most powerful telescope ever. But since Hubble is getting old, NASA built an even better telescope, the James Webb Space Telescope. It looks different, but it is bigger and more powerful than the Hubble Space Telescope. Here's a picture of me with Webb's mirror when it was being built by NASA. The James Webb Space Telescope was launched into space on Christmas Day. The rocket was built by a company in France, so they count backwards in French for the launch. Let's watch.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, unité, top.
And we have engine start. And
Allumage
liftoff.
EAP, décollage.
Decollage, liftoff from a tropical rainforest to the edge of time itself. James Webb begins a voyage back to the birth of the universe.
Webb is working well in space. Here is one of the first pictures it took of galaxies smashing into each other. I hope you enjoyed learning about being an astronomer and studying planets, stars, and galaxies with a telescope. If you want to learn more, remember, scientists like to ask questions, so you can ask questions too. Thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome. We are going to make some fun rockets today. So this is in relation to what NASA does, and I hope you enjoyed the video that we showed talking about space and the such. What we're going to do first is you should have these in your bag. These are your supplies that you need, not a whole lot. Scissors, our little templates. So you should have two. This is one without the shapes in the center, and this one has the shapes in the center. So this one's a little more challenging. This one's a little bit more straightforward. And some crayons. These are some crayons that I got myself at the thrift store. So one thing that we're going to do first, I'm going to put this one aside because I don't need both to work on both right now. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this in half right along this dotted line here. We should have pretty straightforward, and this is on cardstock, so it has a little bit more heft to it. And then we're going to color in these shapes here. So you can, whatever you have on hand, if you have markers, crayons, if you had like a light watercolor, you could do that, but I'm just going to use my crayons. Okay, so I've colored in all of my little pieces. You can see I have more blue and more yellow because I like those colors. And I thought they would look really pretty on my rocket. And you can see I'm not too concerned with being having colored outside the lines because I'm going to cut these out. So I don't have to worry about that too much. So to make the cutting out a little bit easier for me, I'm going to cut mine into these little strips here. Okay. And then what I can do is I can just cut out each individual shape. I want to get as close to that black line as I can to make it a nice, clean, pretty cut. And you can see I'm cutting away all of the little outside the lines, so no one will ever know that I colored outside the lines. And now I have one little block, and I'm going to continue through cutting out each one of these. So that's what I want you to do, is to go ahead and cut out each one of these pieces. Okay, so we have our pieces cut. We have our little outline that shows us the different shapes. And if you notice down here, this says tangram rocket. And so you might wonder what a tangram is. So a true tangram is made of 7 different shapes. So this one has 12. But a true tangram has 7. And they can be used to make a whole bunch of different shapes. So you can use these. They're sort of like flat building blocks. Okay, so if you were to build a tower, this would be a very flat tower, right? But you could build them up if they were actual building blocks. But you can do this. So here's our rocket. Doesn't mean that we can't use these to make different things, different shapes. Line them up here. You know, we could make some sort of little house. Okay. And you don't have to use all the pieces in what you're making, but you can if you want to. But you can do all sorts of different things. You could build a little tower. So it's kind of like a puzzle. So if I wanted to build a city line, I could do this. Ooh, you could make boats too. All sorts of things. Can you think of things that you can make with these shapes? Just a fun bit. But what we're going to do with these now is we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill in our rocket. So what we need to do is match the shapes that we've colored and cut to the shapes that are on the rocket. So I'm going to put this blue one on the tip of my rocket. And then we need a rectangle. So I'm going to put a green rectangle here. And then we need a triangle. So you'll see we have 2 triangles. So which one looks like it'll fit there? This small one or this big one? So I think the smaller one goes here. And then that means we need another small one. And then a rectangle goes here, so yellow. And then again, we have small rectangles. I mean triangles, pardon me. Okay, and here is a big rectangle, right? And then we have the little rocket booster squares. Put those there. And then every good rocket needs its wings, right? It needs something to help it fly. Like a bird needs wings, and a plane needs wings, a bee needs wings. So we place that there. And there we have a tangram rocket. And the reason I'm not gluing it down is because then I can play with the shapes again and again. And so you can always move them around. If I wanted to change out these triangles I could go ahead and flip them, but if they were glued down, I wouldn't be able to do it. That being said, if you're somebody who wants to glue it down and you have glue on hand, you can do that to make kind of cool rockets. And then if I want to pretend that this is taking off, I'd drop my boosters, right? So I am looking forward to seeing everything that you guys made. I hope you enjoyed this project. Again, if you want to challenge yourself a little bit, you could try doing these shapes in the empty one here. So you see how this one has the shapes for you to fill out. This one's a little bit harder because you got to make sure that you have the right size shapes. And so it doesn't give you that right off the bat. So we know small triangle. We can kind of use this one as a, you know, a template. And then we have medium-sized rectangle. And then we work our way down. Okay? All right. I'll look forward to seeing what you guys do. Have a great one. Thanks for joining us.